Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is an update for the week of March 11th, 2024. I'm starting off this week with huge news about TikTok. With overwhelming support, the U.S. House of Representatives has passed a bill that would force ByteDance, the Chinese company who owns TikTok, to either sell TikTok to an American company or face a ban. 352 House members voted in favor of the bill and 66 opposed. So U.S. national security officials are saying that TikTok is a threat for two main reasons. One, it could allow the Chinese government to access U.S. user data. And two, it could or does manipulate U.S. public opinion through content its algorithm pushes to users, especially during an election year. This measure now goes to the Senate, where a forced sale or ban is likely to encounter some opposition. But if it passes in the Senate, President Biden has said that he'll sign this into law. If this gets passed into law, ByteDance has 5 months to sell TikTok, or the U.S. will ban it from the app stores in our country. Selling TikTok will be tricky since the sale of TikTok would involve exporting technology, which would require approval from the Chinese government. Obviously, TikTok is pissed, and they reminded the Senate that TikTok impacts the American economy and the 170 million Americans who use their service. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm in favor of a TikTok ban in the United States. Teenage use of TikTok is at addictive levels, and the algorithm takes advantage of their developing brains. TikTok also houses dangerous content like deadly challenges, which have killed many children and teens, some of who I've interviewed on this podcast. I'll keep you updated once the Senate votes on this bill. Next up, a couple updates on Snapchat. You may have seen on Instagram or YouTube that I set up a test account on Snapchat. I said I was a 14-year-old female. And then I immediately scrolled through the Spotlight section, which is a feed of snaps that were recommended to me. What I saw made me physically ill. I saw countless people making out in beds. I watched someone talk about the kinkiest thing they've ever done in the bedroom. I watched strippers in an actual strip club. I watched someone talk about having threesomes. I heard every bad word that exists. I saw ads for countless weight loss products and at-home workouts. I'm not exaggerating when I say that 95% of the videos recommended to a 14-year-old girl had either a subtle or not so subtle sexual reference. I shared actual video clips of what I was served on Instagram and YouTube. It's worth a watch if you have time, especially if you have a child on Snapchat. But suffice it to say, I will not be letting my child sign up for Snapchat at any age. If I left that scrolling session feeling sick, being a 30-something-year-old woman, imagine what kids are feeling. Let's stay on Snapchat for a moment. Snap was in the news this week, as it usually is, and none of it is good. A woman in Mississippi was arrested after exchanging sexual photos with a 16-year-old minor on Snapchat. She is being charged with enticement of a child to meet for sexual purposes. Separately, we know there's an increase in drugs being sold on social media, and this includes vapes. Parents are being warned by officials that vapes sold through Snapchat are often laced with drugs such as spice or THC. Spice is a synthetic cannabinoid, is made in a lab to mimic the effects of cannabis, but it can cause chest pains, seizures, extreme anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Parents, remind your child that anything, pill, powder, vape, purchased on social media is dangerous, it's fake, it's potentially deadly. One more horrific Snap update from this week. A 25-year-old man named Alexander McCartney has pled guilty to 180 charges involving more than 60 child victims, including one of manslaughter. McCartney used Snapchat to lure his young victims, many of them under 13 years old, into sharing images and to entice them to commit sexual acts. One victim, a 12-year-old girl, has taken her own life after this experience. McCartney was doing this to children on Snapchat for about 6 years, and Snapchat didn't stop him. They didn't know. Shouldn't they know what's happening on their platform? Sentencing for McCartney will take place in May. I'm sending positive thoughts and strength to the families of these 60 victims. Now on to Meta. Meta's stock has plummeted this week. They're currently being named in a lawsuit filed by 33 states over substantial dangers that the platform allegedly misled the public on, specifically addictive features targeting children. New Mexico specifically is claiming that Meta creates a marketplace for predators in search of children upon whom to prey, and they've got the receipts to prove it. Former President Donald Trump is on the Meta hate bandwagon, calling Facebook the enemy of the people. Trump voiced concerns that the potential federal ban on TikTok, which I mentioned earlier, would actually provide a significant boost to Meta. And this does beg the question, where will the 170 million American TikTok users go along with the advertisers? Likely to Instagram and YouTube. So we'll see what happens with the ban and how this will affect other big tech platforms. Again, I'm happy to see some regulation and transparency on platforms that harm children. Let's keep that going. Today, I want to end with some thoughts about Discord, which is a sneaky platform that most of us don't often talk about. Discord is primarily used to chat while kids or adults are playing online games. This week, they announced that they're going to start offering mini games and apps embedded within the chat. Starting on March 18th, all Discord developers will get access to a new embedded app that lets them build these mini games into the chats. They say they want Discord to grow into a place where developers can build, share, and monetize their work. These improvements that they announced come just weeks after Discord announced it was laying off 17% of its employees. After Discord faced questioning in the US Senate in January about child sexual exploitation, I wonder how much effort they're putting into monitoring for predators. The Washington Post actually just released an alert about predatory groups on Discord who are targeting children and coercing them into self-harm. This is also happening on a messaging app called Telegram. Parents need to know about this sadistic form of social media terror. These groups are catfishing kids on Discord, getting a nude photo from them, and then forcing the child or the teen to hurt themselves live on camera on Discord. They're specifically targeting children with mental health issues. This is similar to the sextortion schemes that I've been talking about, where the predator asks for money or they'll share the nude photo. But if you have a teen or a child on Discord, please monitor their use, talk to them about privacy because they're being targeted. Those are the updates for this week on social media and big tech. Thank you for hanging in there. It's important that we as parents know what's going on the platforms that our children are accessing. I'll be in touch next week with another Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death.